So my agency Twiz was able to go from $0 in revenue in 2018 to $1.72 million in revenue in 2021. We didn't have any funding, did it completely bootstrapped. I was in my college dorm room when I started the agency in 2018. And then last year, obviously not my college dorm anymore, but we were able to scale to that point. And the thing is, once you get to about the, $1 million per year mark around there, things start to get really chaotic. And to go from $100,000 to our best month, which was about $190,000 in revenue, takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of skill, and you have to iron out a lot of things with your business in order to make something like that work. And so in this video, I wanted to shed some light onto the things that are necessary for your agency to hit $200,000 per month in sales. And by going into these, I hope that it helps you scale faster and avoid some of the mistakes that I made when I was building my agency. My name is Lucas James, and I am the creator of AgencyGo.io, and you can check it out. We got a lot of good information about how to scale your agency on there. So my business, Twiz, is an SEO and LinkedIn lead generation business. When we first got started, we didn't know what the heck we were doing, but we found a niche with SEO, and after doubling down on that, we were able to scale it to roughly about $80,000 to $100,000 per month. And the thing initially, and then we hit that growth curve, but the thing I want to highlight here is that it took us from about March 2018, which was when we started, that was our incorporation date, to about February 2019 for us to go from zero to about $15,000 per month in sales. Just me and my business partner, Christian Belichkov. And then from February 2019 to August 2019, we absolutely exploded. We went from that $15,000 per month mark all the way up to about $80,000 per month. And then when we hit that August 2019 mark, for about a year, we plateaued. It wasn't fun. It was a really uncomfortable time for the business, and we just couldn't figure out how to get past that $80,000 per month mark. We tried everything. We tried duplicating my sales efforts because I was kind of like the salesperson, and then my business partner, Christian, it was and still is the operations product person. And so we were just refining that process, trying to duplicate ourselves out. Nothing worked. We kept trying to grow, kept trying to scale, kept putting money into this thing. And the bummer is that instead of taking that money out as in distributions, we kept trying to figure out how to reinvest it and then make more money ourselves, but it just never happened. So I ended up not making as much money during that time period because I was unsuccessfully investing the capital which I had earned as we got the business to $1 million in revenue. And so it wasn't until we hit the pandemic where I did a lot of soul searching as an agency and uncovered the things that were causing us problems when we were trying to scale. One of those things was our inability to properly scale closers. There was this really good book, and if you don't know the phrase closer, essentially a closer is someone who comes in and closes the deals. I was essentially the closer when I was scaling up the agency. I'd get a lot of meetings booked on my calendar, and originally I had to book my own meetings, but eventually I got other people to book meetings for me, and then I closed those deals. And when I closed those deals, that's when all the revenue was generated, and we just kept scaling. But the thing is that you need other people to be able to close. My issue was when it was about August 2019, I was unable to find people who are really good closers. And when I tried to put closers in to then scale the business, I started them off full-time, full pay, which I know might sound like just the obvious thing to do. You gotta hire someone in order to scale, right? But in actuality, that's actually what I would consider to be one of the worst things you can do when you're a bootstrap company. What you should be doing is not hiring anyone full-time until they've proven themselves. And this is especially true in performance-based roles and probably extends all the way from the sales department to even like the marketing department. Because when you have things that require performance, you need to know if somebody's actually good. Do not hire people who require training, who require a lot of work, who you don't know are gonna close one account every 20 hours, which is the benchmark we ended up using. So basically, by about a whole year went past, and it was around August 2020 where I met these really good closers who can come in, and the key word here is fractionally or part-time close for my business. And then once they actually did, do that, then I could scale them up. So I read this really good book called Sales Management Simplified. And in this book, it talks about how you can build a sales team and how when you're building a sales team, there's a certain way you want to hold all your salespeople accountable to their metrics. And then as they scale, right, as they scale up, then you keep giving them more opportunities, you keep putting more hours in them. And this is kind of my take on the book. Not all of it is what he talks about in the book. In fact, he doesn't really have a strict method for how you scale up closers, but he does have something which I took, and this was one of the most pivotal reasons we went from $100,000 per month to $200,000 or close to it, about $190,000 per month in revenue, was we realized that we had to have super strict quotas and we had to hold people accountable to those quotas every single month, right? And so what we did is we made every single person on the sales team who was a part-time salesperson start off fractionally. They basically started off about 20 hours or 40 hours a month, and they just were sitting, getting meetings booked to them, and they'd close deals, or they were fully end-to-end reps and they had to close their own deals. And I basically said, look, if you're closing deals that we're putting in your calendar, if we're putting meetings in your calendar and you're not able to close one account every 20 hours that you work, then you're out of here, right? Or I will give you another opportunity, but I will not give you more hours, right? That was a strict quota that I had. And because I had that quota, I didn't waste resources because people were only scaled up if they were making me money, right? And that's the thing. Everyone forgets this. They try to scale people up without people actually making them money. And that's something that I learned. And because I learned it a little bit too late, I wish I'd learned it a little earlier, if I was able to then hit that rapidly accelerating scale point, right? And so that was the key. That was the key. The key was being able to find people who are willing to work part-time and then rapidly scale their business or their book of business with me. And in return, I would incentivize them with really good comp plans, which brings me to my next thing, which is in order to actually scale closers appropriately, I need to come up with a solid comp structure, just a solid offer for people to actually want to work with me. Because at the end of the day, if they are closing deals for me, but they don't feel super incentivized to keep closing them, they're gonna eventually leave, right? And so that's something that we had to work out. So what I started doing was I said, look, okay, you gotta close, when you close a deal, you're gonna get paid an amount upfront as a percentage of the deal. So for instance, if it was a $5,000 per month deal, they'd get paid $2,500 upfront within 30 days of that deal closing. And let's say there was no refund or chargeback or anything like that, which chargebacks are super rare. You do not want to have chargebacks. This is a whole nother video topic. That's a sign of an unhealthy business. But refunds do happen from time to time. And I'm not going to go into the distinction of that in this video, but refunds do happen because sometimes there's just like a misalignment with the strategic priority of what's happening with the project. And it's actually good to give refunds because proactively, meaning that you're trying to give it to people because you know that you could have done a better job and they don't have to ask you for them to like pull your teeth for it, all that stuff. Anyways, point being is that you pay them out within 30 days if there was no issues. And when you pay them out, that's essentially the moment that they get that commission, then they can scale up with you, right? And so I had to really think through, okay, what's the best kind of commission model I could be giving people? And so once I identified the commission model for these reps, and then I was able to ramp them based on scalable hours at first. And then once they got more and more deals closed, ramping them up to more hours, then it was just a simple formula. I just had to get more meetings booked for these closers. And then once I got more meetings booked for these closers, they just kept ramping and ramping and ramping. And the whole thing just came together. And that's when we hit that month, that crazy month where we did almost $200,000 in sales. And we are around there still. But the thing is, it wasn't as insane, mainly because I started pivoting more, and I still am pivoting more into software. And so now a lot of our growth is actually coming from our software product. Our service product is still hanging in there really strong, but our software product is growing extremely fast. And so that's what I'm excited for mainly. But point being is that that was the key for us to go from $100,000 per month to $200,000 per month. We had to really, really, really crush getting closers, scaling them up, keeping them incentivized, and by doing so, that was the number one key to double our business essentially overnight. And that's how you really can build wealth, right? At the end of the day, building wealth is about getting other people to be so incentivized by your product or service that they're willing to work tirelessly for you and help you build your business, right? And that was the thing I failed at. I was not very good at when I was starting. It was really crappy for me. I wish I could have done a better job. It took me a whole year. I spent over $100,000 trying to figure it out of my own money that could have put in my bank account, but instead I paid people to figure it out for me and I couldn't do it. So I hope this video saves you from that and reprioritizes your mind and makes it so you do not replicate the same mistakes that I did, right? And if you want to avoid these mistakes in the future, check out my website, agencygo.io. Lots of free resources there to learn about how to scale your agency, grow it. I'm giving away all my lead scripts, agencygo.io/leads. You can get all the information there if you are interested in avoiding the mistakes that I made myself. And that's all that I care about at the end of the day. So feel free to like and subscribe to this channel, Agency Go fam, and join our community if interested at agencygo.io. But hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you can double your business in the next few months quicker than I have and make a lot more money. Thanks.